My name is Margaret Baker. I've been in Central Florida probably for about 30 years. I worked as a tax accountant for a long period of time, and a few years ago I got into painting and started to transition out of doing tax accounting and get more into painting because it was where my passion lied, and it made sense to me and I want to get better at it. I've watched so many entrepreneurs start their businesses, and from ideas, just these little kernel of ideas, and then they spring into these things, and you're like, that could not have happened. And I started thinking, I have this thing that I really love, and you only have a brief amount of time to try. So I wrote out a business plan a few years ago with stages, and that's made it feasible. It made me understand I can do this. I'm not there yet, but I can see where I'm going, which is more than I think I ever thought when I was younger, when I was interested in art. I couldn't quite see, where do you go in there? So now I do. I don't want the moments and the beauty that I see to go unrecognized. So a lot of the work that I do is sometimes it's a little nostalgic, and sometimes it's capturing places that are disappearing, especially here in Central Florida. That's how I kind of started. I was interested in, I would drive by places that all around was being built up by new construction, and so these places that I had taken for granted over the years were disappearing, and they were unnoticed. And what I found is when I painted them, they kind of became noticed, and I found people who were like, I love that place. I'm so glad you got that painting of that place. And so it's bringing attention to things that people don't often see and don't recognize. You can get really focused on the aspects of your day, the day in, day out. And so maybe the responsibility of the artist is drawing attention to some of the things that you maybe miss. They might be quiet things, they might be something that you maybe thought was ugly, or something that you never even thought about. And somebody puts a highlight on it and just changes your emotion a little bit, changes your thinking. So a long time ago, my father he documented everything in our family, and I took it for granted probably for a really long time. And he started sending me DVDs of these photos. It's his legacy. And when I started going through the photos, what I noticed was, and this is back before digital, so he was burning through film, was just how many photos he caught. Back then, when you took a photo, it was usually a staged photo. You wanted to catch the people. And maybe it's because my dad took so many photos, people were they were so unstaged. And he caught these little snippets, and some of them were they're bad photos. But it was the elements around it that I liked, and I liked that little bit of nostalgia. It's recognizable to anyone. I don't even know these people in the photos. When I started looking through them, I don't know these people. And it made me start thinking about, these spaces in between the people, the way the photo was captured. It captured these spaces in between, because people aren't looking at the camera. They're not expecting to be photographed. They're in their everyday moments. And I started seeing those as paintings, and I wanted to simplify them for as much, because I like the space in between the people. And I found that it is a nostalgia. And I worried at first. I thought, okay, does this look like my family photos? And they don't. I find that a lot of people have that reaction of it's like a collective memory, even on younger people. So when I was at Art Crawl, I had one painting out, and this little boy who was like 9 years old, he just ran right up to the painting. He's like, I want to jump into that painting, you know, and it was the one of badminton. It had that green, and I was like, that's awesome. That's the best compliment ever. Because he relates to it. It's recognizable. It makes it think of something simple.